Welcome to the Evolution of Man. This series challenges the version of manhood many of us inherited. The silence, the pride, the emotional distance. The belief that providing money excuses a lack of presence. The belief that effort only counts when someone notices. Men have grown, but many of us are still carrying values built for survival, control, and performance. Values that limit how we show up with the women, with partners, with children, with ourselves. Part 1 turns the mirror towards men. This is where we confront the ego, the excuses, the surface level healing, the emotional gaps we keep asking our families to accept. So you may believe the cards are stacked against you. You may believe change takes too much time. You may believe this is simply who we are. But it is what it is often what we say when accountability feels harder than staying the same. So this series is not here to shame men. This series is here to challenge men who know their families deserve more. Your partner should not have to beg for emotional safety. Your children should not have to study your moods. The people who love you should not have to lose themselves trying to reach you. The question is not whether men are capable of changing. The question is whether we are willing to stop defending the version of us that keeps causing harm. Connect with 15 Minutes with Dad on social media and join the conversation. Join our weekly call-ins and fatherhood community on Discord at 15 Minutes with Dad. Share your story, your struggles, or the work you are doing by emailing me directly at Lirec, Lirec at 15minuteswithdad.com. This is part 1. The mirror is up. So let's get honest. There is a big difference between a home with structure and a home built on fear. A home with structure has clear expectations. A home built on fear has emotional surveillance. A home with structure has boundaries. A home built on fear has everyone walking on eggshells. A home with structure teaches responsibility, but a home built on fear teaches hiding. A home with structure helps children feel safe. A home built on fear makes children perform safety. Many men struggle with this distinction because we were taught leadership means control. We were taught fathers set the tone by being unquestioned. And we were taught a man protects his family by keeping everything under his authority. We were also taught obedience means respect. Disagreement means rebellion. Softness creates weakness. And so when our family pushes back, we do not always hear pain. We hear that a partner says, I feel controlled. We hear, you do not respect my leadership. A child says, I'm scared to talk to you, Dad. We hear, look, you are being dramatic. A co-parent says, we need clearer boundaries. We hear, you are trying to take power. A family member says, you need to listen more. We hear, you are saying, I am not a man. It often begins where fear goes unnamed. A man afraid of being disrespected tries to control the tone. A man afraid of chaos tries to control every decision. If he's afraid of failure, he tries to control outcomes. If he's afraid of emotional pain, he tries to control access. A man afraid of being abandoned tries to control closeness. A man afraid of losing authority tries to control truth. The deeper issue is not leadership. The deeper issue is fear wearing leadership's clothes. Welcome back to 15 Minutes with Dad. I am Lirec Williams. This is episode 4 of the Evolution of Man series. Today's title is called Control Disguised as Leadership, When Protection Becomes Power. Episode 1 examined the man you inherited. Episode 2 examined ego as armor. Episode 3 examined emotional escape. Today, we examine control. Not the easy version of control, not the obvious version where someone admits they want power. We're talking about the version which sounds responsible. The version which hides inside good intentions, which says, I'm only trying to protect this family, or I know what's best, or I am trying to keep peace, or I am trying to teach discipline. I do not want my kids making the same mistakes I made. I work hard, so I should have a say. All I'm asking for is respect. Does that sound like something you've said before? Any of those? Some of those statements contain some form of truth. Fathers should protect, they should guide, they should teach, they should have a voice, and they should expect respect. The question is not whether fathers should lead. The question is what kind of leadership creates safety in your home. Leadership rooted in fear creates compliance. Leadership rooted in emotional maturity creates trust. That is the line. Let's talk about why control feels like safety to men. Control does not come from nowhere. Many men reach for control because life taught them uncertainty was dangerous. Maybe childhood felt chaotic, adults were inconsistent, money was unstable, love felt conditional, anger filled the house, addiction shaped the family, violence, criticism, abandonment, or emotional neglect taught your body to stay alert. Now, when you grow up around instability, control feels like oxygen. You learn, if I control the room, I stay safe. If I can control the plan, no, nothing goes wrong. If I control the conversation, nobody exposes me. If I control my child avoids pain. If I control my partner, I avoid rejection. If I control the home, I avoid shame. And for a man shaped by chaos, control feels responsible. The problem is your family is not the chaos from your past. Your partner is not the adult who failed you. Your child is not your younger self. Your co-parent is not the original source of your wound. And if you lead your current family from an old threat response, your family's experience, it will be wild, and they will experience a version of you still fighting ghosts. Control might calm your nervous system, but it does not always calm the home. Sometimes it creates the fear you were trying to prevent in the first place. Let's talk about leadership versus control. Now, leadership and control often look similar at first. They both set direction. They both create expectations. They both shape behavior. Both can influence the family system. The difference lives in the emotional experience of the people under your care. Leadership invites clarity. Control demands submission. Leadership explains the why. Control says, because I said so. Sounds familiar? Leadership listens before deciding. Control decides before listening. Leadership protects dignity. Control protects our ego. Leadership welcomes feedback. Control punishes feedback. Leadership builds trust. Control creates fear. Leadership teaches responsibility. Control teaches performance. Leadership creates room for growth. Control creates fear of mistakes. On one hand, leadership says, I am responsible for how my presence affects this home. But control says, this home should adjust around my comfort. Leadership does not mean everyone gets their way. Children still need limits, partners need honesty, co-parents need boundaries, and families need expectation. A calm home does not mean a boundary-free home. Healthy leadership holds both the firmness and warmth. Firmness without warmth becomes intimidation, and warmth without firmness becomes confusion. Mature fatherhood needs both. So warmth says, you are safe with me. But firmness says, I will help guide what happens next. Together, they create trust. Now, what happens when protection becomes power? Protection is sacred. A father should protect his children. A man should care about the emotional, physical, and spiritual safety of his family. Protection comes power when the people you claim to protect lose their voice. Protection becomes power when you make choices for grown adults without partnership. It becomes power when your fear decides everyone else's limits, or when your child cannot tell the truth without expecting punishment, or when your partner asks permission instead of having a mutual conversation, or when your co-parent boundaries becomes weapons, or when I am concerned turns into you must obey. A protective man asks, what does safety require? A controlling man would ask, how do I get my way and call it safety? This gets complicated because fathers often see danger others do not see. We see risks. We see consequences. We remember what life taught us, and we want to stop our children from suffering. And that desire comes from love. Yet love without trust becomes surveillance. Love without listening becomes pressure. Love without humility becomes control. A child does not need a father who removes every risk. A child needs a father who prepares them to face life with wisdom, self-respect, and support. A partner does not need a man who manages every outcome. A partner needs a teammate who values their voice. Your family does not need a ruler. Your family needs leadership worthy of trust. Now, how does control apply to child development? Research on parenting and child well-being gives a serious warning. Parental psychology control links with higher depression and anxiety among adolescents. One 2024 study found parental psychological control predicted depression and anxiety among adolescents, with bedtime procrastination partly mediating the relationship. A 2025 study also found parent-adolescent gaps in how they perceived psychological control mattered. When adolescents perceived higher psychological control, then parents recognized those gaps predicted higher adolescent depression 1 year later. The same study found in autonomy, support discrepancies predicted lower depression among boys. This matters for fathers because many dads do not experience their behavior as controlling. They experience it as caring. The child experiences differently. Dad says, I am keeping you focused. The child feels, I cannot make mistakes. Dad says, I'm teaching you respect. The child feels, my voice does not matter. Dad would say, I'm just protecting you. The child feels, you do not trust me. Dad may say, I'm trying to help. And your child feels, I'm not enough unless I perform. Intent matters. Impact matters too. If your child feels controlled, it deserves attention even when your intention was to love. Healthy fatherhood does not avoid limits. Healthy fatherhood places limits without attacking identity. So instead of saying you are lazy, try this responsibility still needs to be handled. Let us talk about the plan. Instead of you never listen, try I need you to pause, look at me, and repeat what you heard. Instead of you're acting like your mother, try I am frustrated and I need to respond to you directly instead of bringing someone else into this. And instead of saying because I said so, you can try something like this. Look, here is the reason behind this boundary. You don't need to like it, but I want you to understand it. And that is emotional leadership. Now let's talk about control in relationships. Control in adult relationships often hide behind leadership language. A man might say, I just want peace. Yet peace means nobody brings up issues. He might say, I want respect. Yet respect means his partner cannot challenge him. He might say, I'm protecting the relationship. Yet protection means limiting who his partner talks to. He might say, I'm the head of the household. Yet headship means the emotional needs of others matter less than his final decision. He might say, look, I do not like the drama. Yet drama means any conversation that requires emotional accountability. And this creates loneliness inside the relationship. The partner learns which topics are unsafe. They learn how to phrase concerns to avoid triggering defensiveness. They learn to carry needs silently. They learn to stop expecting shared responsibilities. And then the man feels blindsided when distance appears, when divorce comes up, when The partner no longer wants to be with him. He says, "Why did you stop trying?" She says, or she thinks, "I tried for years. You called it disrespect." Control often produces quiet resentment before it produces open conflict. So by the time the conflict becomes loud, the relationship has often been emotionally loud for a long time. And the man simply did not hear it. Let's talk about control and co-parenting. Co-parenting reveals control quickly. Like when the relationship ends, the old power structure changes. You no longer share one home. You no longer make every decision under one roof. You no longer have access to every detail. And you no longer see your child every day in the same way. This loss creates fear. And fear becomes control when a parent tries to manage the other household, or when every difference becomes a threat, or when communication turns into surveillance, or when boundaries become punishment, or when a parent uses the child to measure loyalty. A child-centered co-parent asks, "What does our child need to feel stable between homes?" A control-centered co-parent asks, "How do I keep influence over what's happening when I am not there?" Those are different questions. A child does not need two identical homes. A child needs two homes where parents act with maturity, predictability, and emotional safety. If the other home has genuine safety concerns, address them through the right process. Document, communicate clearly, use mediation when needed. Use legal support when needed. Protect your child. Do not use anxiety as a proof of danger. Not liking a difference does not always make it harmful. Co-parenting maturity means knowing the difference between preference, concern, and threat. Here is the framework for this episode. I call it the control check. Use it when you feel the urge to tighten your grip. Step 1, name the fear. Ask yourself, what am I afraid will happen if I do not control this? Possible answers. My child will fail, my partner will leave, my co-parent will replace me, my family disrespect me, and my home will become chaotic. I will lose authority. People will think I'm weak. I feel powerless. Control often begins with fear. So name the fear before you act from it. Step 2, let's separate safety from preference. I want you to ask yourself, is this a true safety issue or is this my preferred way? Safety issues are like seatbelts, medical need, unsafe parents, unsafe adults, school neglect, violence, substance abuse around children, dangerous environments, emotional harm, age-inappropriate exposure. Things like preference would be like clothes not matching, different bedtime by 30 minutes, different food choices, different homework style, a parent using another routine, a child trying a reasonable new activity, a partner making a choice you would not make. Not every difference requires correction. Step 3, I want you to ask who loses voice. Control often removes someone's voice. Whose perspective are you minimizing? Is it your child, your partner, co-parent, family, team, your younger self? And then you can ask, what would it look like to lead while still hearing them? Now, step 4, we're going to choose clarity over force. Force would say, do what I said. But clarity will say, look, here's the boundary, here is the reason, and here's what happened next. Force creates fear, clarity creates structure. For example, we leave at 7:30. Look, if you're not ready, you still need your shoes and your bag in your hand, and I will help you plan tonight so tomorrow goes smoother. That is structure. Not yelling, not shame, not chaos. Structure. And 5, repair where control caused harm. A controlled family often needs repair before it trusts your new approach. You can say things like, I see how my need for control made this feel unsafe, or I thought I was helping, but I did not listen well, or I confused being respected with being obeyed. I want to lead with more calm and partnership. I still believe in structure, but I do not want structure to feel like fear. But then practice. Like words open the door. Consistency keeps the door open. So take a second to think. Where did you grip hardest? Was it money, schedules, discipline, your partner's choice, your child's emotion, your co-parent's home, your image, your reputation, your house, your work, your faith, your body, your child's future? The place you grip hardest often reveals a place you feel least safe. So now I ask, who experiences the pressure of my fear? Does my children become anxious because I'm afraid of failure? Does my partner become quiet because I'm afraid of disrespect? Does my home feel calm because people are safe, or quiet because people are careful? That question matters. A quiet house is not always a peaceful house. Sometimes it is a house where people learn when not to speak. This week, practice one leadership shift. Choose one situation where you normally control. Discipline, schedules, co-parenting communication, household tasks, money conversations, partner feedback, homework, screen time, bedtime. And I want you to use the control check. Name the fear. Let's try and separate safety from preference. Then I want you to ask who loses their voice. I want you to choose clarity over force. Repair when needed. You can try this. This sentence is very easy. Like, I want to lead this better. Here's what matters to me. And I also want to hear what matters to you. For the child, you can try, I'm setting this boundary because I care about your safety and growth. I want you to tell me what feels hard about it. For your partner, you can say, I notice I'm trying to control this because I feel anxious. I want to slow down and I want to talk instead of taking over. For a co-parent, you can try, I have a concern. I want to separate what is safety from what is preference. We stay child-centered. And for yourself, you can try, I do not need control to prove I am strong. I need clarity, calm, and consistency. Practice it once and then practice it again. Your family will not trust the shift after one sentence. They will trust a pattern after repeated safety. Control is seductive because it creates quick compliance. Connection takes longer. Control gives the illusion of safety. Connection builds real trust. Control says, I need everyone to adjust around my fear. We talked about how leadership says, I need to understand my fear before I place it on my family. Whereas control says my authority matters most. Leadership comes back and say, my responsibility includes how people experience my authority. Control says, I protect by deciding. Leadership says, I protect by listening, guiding, setting boundaries, and staying accountable. A strong man does not need to dominate the room to lead the room. A strong father does not need fear to teach respect. A strong partner does not need control to feel valued. A strong co-parent does not need access to every detail to remain important. You do not need to lose manhood when you release control. You make room for a healthier version of it. So in episode 5, we'll talk about part 1, the mirror, and close out with an episode titled Excuses Men Use, Why Good Intentions Are Not Enough. We will examine the language men use to avoid change, including, I did not mean it, or that is how I was raised, or I'm trying, or at least I'm here. So follow 15 Minutes with Dad on all social media platforms. Make sure you email us at lirec@15minuteswithdad.com. That's LIREC at 15minuteswithdad.com. Make sure to share this episode with the man who wants to lead without controlling. This is 15 Minutes with Dad. I am Lirec Williams. Release the grip, choose clarity, and lead with safety. Before you move on, let's pause here, because growth doesn't happen in the listening. It happens in what you choose next. So you don't need to change everything. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be present. Stay present long enough to practice something different. So carry this into your home, into those small moments, the hard conversations, and the quiet decisions no one applauds. That's where fatherhood is built. And if something here resonated, let it become action. Let it become consistency. but become the way that you lead. Because this is how trust is formed. This is how safety is felt, and this is how generational change actually happens. And if this episode helps you, share it with another father who's trying to do better. And if you have a story, a win, or a lesson you're learning, email me at Lirec, Lirec, at 15minuteswithdad.com. That's Lirec at 15minuteswithdad.com. Because this work grows through shared experiences.